Welcome, Gordon Mann here at the D3Hoops.com Classic with a classic conversation with the coach of the MSOE Raiders, Coach Trees. Coach, you came out here with a small roster. It looks like it may have gotten one smaller, at least for a little while. Yes. 2 losses. Tell me what you take away from the Vegas experience.
Honestly, for us, these 2 games were just about getting better. We do have a small team. It's a bit of a rebuilding year. So for us, every single game, we need to start learning a new system, a new defense, improving on the little things. And I think we did come away with 1 loss that was not so great, but 1, we really were competitive with a really, really good University of New England team. So I'm actually really happy with what we took away from it. As long as we're getting better every day, that's our main goal.
Yeah. So you come into a program, Katie Nelson was the head coach. She leaves relatively late in the off season. Yes. You come from Lake Forest, which is not too far away, but not right next door. Small roster. Last year's starters, when you do that comparison to get ready,
they were gone.
They're all gone. Yep. One of the players you have now playing significant minutes didn't play at all last year, probably more than one. Talk us through your transition to becoming a head coach. You get the roster. You have such a small amount of time. How much do you have? Obviously, no time for recruiting. How much do you have to install your offense and to start to build this in the image you want it to be?
Yeah, I think this year, like I said, every game we take, we just want to get better. And part of that is installing that new offensive system, a new defensive system, and honestly just building confidence in the people that we have on our team, because I think we have some really good players, even if they didn't play last year. I think we really have some talent, and I think we can surprise some people in our conference. But part of that is just getting better at those little things. I have a very different system than what they ran last year.
Okay.
So that first 3 weeks of practice was a lot of conditioning because we have a small roster, and a lot of learning. And so right now we're hopefully starting to get into stride in conference. We've done relatively well so far. But building and just instilling confidence in what we believe in, so doing the little things and just being competitive, being tough, that's the most important thing to me, not really the wins and the losses this year. We want to win every game, but it's more about getting better for us.
What's different about being a head coach? This is your first job, and you're not that far out of being a player. I remember we were commenting. I remember writing headlines about you as a DePaul, having lots of fun with your last name and the tree puns. What's it like being in charge of a program pretty early on in your career?
Yeah, I love it. I love coaching. It's always something that I have known that I wanted to do. It's a passion of mine, and I had a really, really good mentor in Coach Huffman, and then at Lake Forest, a really good mentor in Coach Tills. I learned a lot from them. I felt very equipped to take this over. I feel very confident in what we're doing here. I have a really good staff. I have a really good group of girls, so they're making it a lot easier to transition. Obviously, a few different things, but honestly, overall, it's been an awesome experience, and I hope that we're building something really special, and I think that we are.
Give me the vision for what you probably had this question as your interview.
Yeah.
Give me the vision for what MSOE women's basketball looks like 4 years from now.
Yeah, we have a full roster.
Okay. Good start.
we have enough people that we can get some nice substitutions. No, that's a joke. Honestly, I think that the school and the location and what our staff is building is something that's going to draw a lot of people. So in 3 to 5 years, we should be winning our conference tournament. That's the goal, right?
Okay.
Every year, the goal is going to be to get better and better to the point where we are a constant competitor in conference. We want to make it to the NCAA tournament. This program has had a lot of All-Americans, a lot of trips to the NCAA tournament, not recently, so we want to get back on track with that. We think that we have a really, really good starting core. So now it's just building and trying to get some recruits in that can help us get to our goal.
So I messed something up in the broadcast, and I'm going to ask you to correct it. We had talked about going back to some interviews we did with folks from Stevens Institute of Technology, that's in Hoboken, New Jersey, and the thrust of the story that we did at the time was how difficult it was for that school to develop women's athletics around an academic program that, much like yours, was very science and technology based. I had assumed that that would be the case for you too, but apparently that's not. Tell us about the women's athletics programs there as a whole at MSOE.
Yeah, so I think obviously every place is different, but we have done a good job across the board of being competitive in our conference and really getting some good recruits in. So women's soccer, softball, they've been doing extremely well. I think because we've diversified a little bit in terms of majors, so now that we do have business, we have nursing, we have engineering, obviously, but we have a lot to offer. And anything that people want in the medical field, a lot of people want that, we can make it happen. So finding the people that are really interested in that long-term goal has been easier and easier, I think. People are starting to figure that stuff out earlier, which has been really helpful for us. But also because we have such a great academic profile, that's made it a little bit easier, especially just in this first round of recruiting. I've found it to be, a lot of people are very interested because of our academic success as well.
So I'm from Philly, so I don't know that part of the country real well. I know you've got your conference, the Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference. You've got the CCIW, which Carthage starts to come up. You've got the Midwest Conference, where you were before. What is that pool like to recruit within?
Yeah, it's interesting because there are a lot of schools right there. However, I think that everybody is so different that you can use a lot of different things, especially for us. We're right in downtown Milwaukee, so you don't always find Division III schools that are in cities. That's a big pull for us, right? We're not in the middle of, you know, some random. Yeah, exactly. So I think everyone just has so much different to offer, and in the Midwest especially, I'm a Midwest girl, so I have a soft place in my heart for people from the Midwest, but they play a lot of basketball. So you're not in any shortage of finding players to go to school and who are really invested in the sport. But a lot of people from the West Coast, East Coast have been coming more to the Midwest because of, again, the academic success of the schools there. And because, like you mentioned, in all of those conferences, there are people in the top 25 generally every year, so it's easy to draw people that are really serious about women's basketball. They want to go there. So it makes it a little easier.
You mentioned the two coaches who have both had a lot of years and a lot of success into them. Give me the one thing you've drawn from each of them as a coach, the thing that you borrowed, whether it's X's and O's, the way you run practice. Where do we see a little bit of Chris Hoffman in you?
Man, that's tough. Well, I would hope that I have drawn a lot from both of them. They're both such great coaches, and like you said, I mean, for years they've been so successful with different teams, different programs. From Coach Huffman, though, I really learned a lot about just being patient and building relationships. I think that's the most important thing as a coach, and I think that's how you get your team to respond to a new system and things like that. Defensively and offensively, obviously she's very talented. But I mean, honestly, across the board from her and Tam, you don't find something that you don't use every single day. I mean, whether it be any drill in practice, I take that from DePaul, from Tam. They're both just amazing and gave me a wealth of knowledge, so I use a lot from them. I'm sure they don't mind, though.
Last question for you. We always ask this. You're here for basketball, I understand that, but Las Vegas is not Milwaukee.
It is not.
So tell me what else you're doing here besides basketball.
Well, we have had some fun. We went to the Strip, explored the casinos a little bit. It's always so fun to see all of the different ways that they decorate. And most of the girls on my team haven't ever been to Vegas, so that was fun for them. Go see the Bellagio fountains, things like that, just touristy things. I think this tournament has been really nice because it's just a lot of good team building. That's the most fun thing, I think, for them and for me. I get to spend good time with them without school and without anything else going on. So a good team builder that can hopefully jumpstart us into the second half of season.
The Milwaukee School of Engineering will be headed back home and back into conference play. We thank you for joining and watching us. This is Gordon Mann from the D3Hoops.com in Las Vegas.